Hey, what's up YouTube? This is going to be my part 2 video of replacing the rear brake pads on the Honda Goldwing DCT model. In part 1, I replaced the rear park and brake pads. But in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to inspect your rear brakes and change out the pads if needed. I picked up the original Honda OEM brake pads. I'll include a link where you guys can pick some of these up, and we'll use those for the installation. So stay tuned to this video, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So let's get started. So I already have the Honda Goldwing on the lift. I already have the rear wheel removed. In part 1, we had to remove the rear wheel to change out the park and brake pads. But if you're just changing out your rear brake pads, you do not have to remove the wheel. So let's climb under the Goldwing and inspect those brakes. So looking at the rear of the Honda Goldwing, we have the park and brake pads on the park and brake caliper. And then we have the rear brake pads on the rear brake caliper. These brake pads, you can actually see in between the rotor and the pads. And it actually looks like it's a pretty good amount of space left on those brakes. So they're not worn down. If you look, you got a pretty good amount of space on each side. And those brake pads actually look pretty good. To actually change out these brake pads, you got a 8mm bolt that needs to come out, one bolt. So if you're changing out just the rear brake pads, you do not have to remove the rear wheel. You can do it with the wheel on the bike, but since I already have the wheel off of the bike, this is a perfect time to look at these brakes. So if I take out one of the brake pads that's already there, you can see that I probably have about 50% of life still left on those brake pads. So to change out these brake pads, you got a one bolt, 8mm. Take out that one bolt and these pads will drop down. I'm gonna go ahead and just change out these brake pads just to show you guys how easy it would be. So I'm using a 8mm. And I'm just going to take out this hanger pin bolt. And just keep in mind that if you pull the bolt out, the brake pad will try to fall down. I do have a catch pan underneath, so when I spray brake cleaner, it'll fall in the pan. So just hold on the brake pad so it don't fall out. And it's actually kind of spring loaded, so when you're pulling it out, you can actually press up. You need to put some silicone grease back on that rubber gasket. And these things will try to just fall out. So we're gonna just slide out this rear brake pad. As you can see, it's still probably got 50% of life. So the brake pads actually look pretty good. I'm sure there's a lot of you that would say that you will still run these, but since I'm already under the bike, and I went through the trouble of changing out the parking brakes. I'm just going to change these out while I'm under the bike. But I still have some life left on those brake pads if I wanted to still use them. I'm going to take some brake dust cleaner and I'm going to spray in between that rotor and the caliper just to remove any debris. So we're going to take the brake pad and we may have to force back the caliper just a little bit just to get it in there. I'm going to reach in with the screwdriver, a flat screwdriver. I'm going to take this brake pad, slide it up. You can feel it drop in. I'm gonna take my hanger pin bolt, make sure you put back some silicone grease on that hanger pin bolt, and just kind of push in. And I'm just gonna hold it there because I want it to hold this brake pad while I do the other side. So looking on the other side of the caliper, I'm gonna take some brake parts cleaner, take my pan and just kind of spray to get out any debris that could be left in there. Clean that area real good. I'm gonna take a little bit of lubricant and put it on that gasket. A little bit of silicone. And just roll it around. You can pick this stuff up at AutoZone on the counter. Very simple to find. It's called brake lubricant. So next I'm going to take my brake pad and push it against the rotor. Just kind of force it. So you can see it's kind of spring loaded. So when you put these things in, you got to push up until it drops into the slot. And now I can push that hanger pin bolt through the brake pads and the caliper. And now I have to tighten this back down. It calls for 13 foot-pounds of torque on this hanger pin bolt. So next I'm gonna take my 8mm and tighten this back down. It calls for 13 foot-pounds. So that's pretty much it on changing the rear brake pads. It's just that simple. You just got this one bolt. So when you finish changing your brake pads, be sure to pump the rear brakes before you pull off. You want to make sure that the brakes are tight. So just pump it to about 2 or 3 times once you change the brake pads so the brakes will tighten up. Now that I have the rear brake pads replaced with new OEM brake pads, and also I have new parking brake pads, now I can put back the rear wheel. I'm going to take my Centromatic wheel balancer. I highly recommend that you pick up some Centromatic wheel balancers for your Honda Goldwing. I'll include a link where you guys can pick up some of these Centromatic wheel balancers, and it just mounts right onto the rear end of the Honda Goldwing. And the beauty of these things, you never have to balance your tires ever again. And it's a lot easier when you're using a jack. So I'm just coming in at an angle. And I'm going to just lift up on this wheel. Very simple. It's easier when you use a jack, but if you don't have a jack, you just have to muscle it up in there. Now I can take my 19 millimeter and just put the bolts back. Very simple, very easy. Just tighten it back down in a X pattern. And tighten the bolts back down to 81 foot-pounds. If you do not have another set of hands to hold the rear brakes when you are putting back on the rear wheel, you could take like a ratchet strap and just hook it to the rear foot brake and strap it down, and then you can hold it with a ratchet strap while you tighten down the rear wheel. So if you have another set of hands, they can hold the rear brakes for you. If not, just use a ratchet strap. And you want to tighten these down in an X pattern. Get someone to hold the rear brake. If you're working by yourself, you can take a ratchet strap and tighten it down the rear brake. I'm going to put back this cover that goes over the muffler. Got a couple of slots on the very top, and we're going to put back this T30 screw back through the bottom. It's a T30. Now that I have everything put back together, I'm going to show you real quick how to check your parking brake, just to make sure that it is adjusted properly. This is not going to be a full video on how to adjust the parking brake. You can click on the link for the full video, but just to see if your parking brake needs to be adjusted, you want to pull up on your brake. 3 to 5 clicks is normal. 1, 2, 3. That's normal. The wheel should move. Release the parking brake. The wheel should move. Now I'm going to show you how to make a quick adjustment if your parking brake is too tight or if it's too loose. I'm going to take a 12 millimeter, loosen that adjustment nut, And you can turn this adjustment bolt. Since I put new pads on, you don't want to make full turns, just make quarter turns. I'm using a 7 30-second open wrench. So if I go a quarter of a turn, that's going to be very loose. I'm going to check my clicks, and that's probably going to be too loose. Count the clicks. 1 2 3 4. It's kind of loose. And you want to make sure that the wheel free turn when the brake is off. If you tighten it too tight, so I'm gonna demonstrate tighten it too tight. I'm gonna go just a half of a turn. I'm gonna go from a 3 o'clock position to a 9 o'clock position. And I'm gonna show you that's gonna be too tight. 3 to 5 clicks is normal. It's too tight to even go to 1 click. So we're gonna have to loosen that adjustment bolt because we just want 3 to 5 clicks for normal. So I'm gonna go back around. I'm gonna go from the 9 o'clock position to the 6 o'clock position. That's about 6 o'clock. We're gonna check the clicks. 3 to 5 is normal. I'm gonna go to the 3 o'clock position. So now we're in the 6 o'clock position. We're gonna go to the 3 o'clock position, just a quarter of a turn. That's about the 3 o'clock position. And now we're gonna check to see if I get 3 to 5 clicks, which will be normal. So we're gonna pull up, count the clicks. 1 2 3 4. 3 to 5 is normal. I'm gonna tighten it just a little bit more. I'm gonna go from the 3 o'clock. We're gonna go just about right there. My goal is about 3 clicks, 3 to 5. A little bit tighter. I'm gonna go back to about, I'm gonna go to the 6 o'clock position. Yes, that's about perfect. Yes, it's perfect. So you don't have to move this adjustment nut a whole lot. So I have it in the position. I have it in that 6 o'clock position. I'm going to take my 12 millimeter, tighten back down that bolt, and I'm going to hold the adjustment nut at the same time. So this thing should spin freely with the brake off. We're gonna go around and check it. I should get 3 to 5 clicks. I'm gonna check it, count the clicks. 1 2 3. That's pretty tight. 1 2 3. That's pretty tight. 3 to 5 is normal. And this is how you quickly make a minor adjustment to your parking brake on a Honda Goldwing DCT model. And this is going to complete my video on how to change out your rear brakes on a Honda Goldwing, your models 2018 through 2024. Be sure to check the description of the video. I will include links of all of the parts that I've used for my brake job. The next order of business would be to install the electrical connection parking brake harness interlock. And that's going to be a serious video. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get to this. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'll see you a little bit later out here in the Caliente garage.